So the first hand of the match on the left-hand table came with about a first hand of, I guess, importance, came about 10 hands into the match. At this point, I had real no history with him. I think we've taken one flop, in which he check raised like a 7-5-3 board, and I had garbage, so I folded. And just go through the action. So he opened on the button to $3, his standard opening size being 3 times the big blind, and I defended Jack 9. I think that's more or less straightforward, 100 big blinds deep. Flop came Jack 9-3, and I opted to go for a check raise. I thought, number one, because I've got the nuts and for all intents and purposes, and number two, because number one, there's a lot of hands he's going to continuation bet on this board that he may try and 3-bet me with, or there's a lot of hands that I don't want to give free cards to, and also because he has check raised me and I folded once, he made me more inclined to play back at my check raises. So anyways, he bets 4, I make it 13. Pretty standard, I think, bet sizing wise. Evan can disagree. I'd love to hear it. If so, my opponent called. The turn was a 7. I thought it was a very good card. At this point, I had his range on most Jack X type hands, flush draws, maybe some sort of combo draw. 8-10 does get there, but I didn't think he would really have a hand like 8-10 on this flop. I didn't think that was a hand he was going to just have in this spot. I guess there's no reason he couldn't, but I didn't think he did at any point. And at this point, my goal was basically to be playing this hand for stacks, and I wanted to size my bets accordingly to get all in on the river. So I bet 26 into 32. I think, leaving myself about a 2/3 pot size bet on the river, and my opponent called. The river was an ace, and I wasn't too thrilled about that card. Obviously, the flush came, and if he had a hand like ace-jack, I was obviously outdrawn. And the other kind of bad part about this card is that I didn't think that if he had a hand like king-jack or queen-jack, that there was too much value to be had by just betting the river and hoping to get called by worse. I thought there's a good chance he's going to actually be able to get away from a lot of hands that I had pretty beat at this point. So I thought the best play at this point was just to check. So I checked and intended on calling most river bets if he decided to bet. But he made a really odd bet size. He bet 35, leaving himself about 27.50 behind. And at this point, I was pretty confused. Had he just shipped it in, I probably would have called. It just didn't seem like he could ever have a flush here because I figured he was jamming most flush draws on the flop, or if he had a hand like ace-jack, he would have already got the money in already. So at this point, his hand really looked like something like he must have, 8-10, which I wasn't sure if he'd bet this kind of amount with, or, something else. But given the fact that even though I was getting a really good price, I just couldn't see him doing this with a hand that I beat. And he may be leveling me with Jack 7. I don't know. Maybe the pot odds dictate the call here. I would like to hear Evan's opinion on that. But I actually opted to fold. And, we talked about in the chat, I said it was a pretty tough fold. And at that point, I think he started giving me a lot more credit for not being some random fish, which is up to this point what he thought I was. So we have one hand of history where I have proven that I can make basically a big laydown, and that I'm aware of him repping scare cards, like the ace theoretically being a scare card, which I think helped me in this second hand we have over here on the right.